TIFU by being black and owning a golden retriever. Where do I even begin? Today was just one of those days at work, you know? All I wanted to do when I got home was collapse on the couch, mindlessly watch TV, and eat something delicious that I didn't have to cook myself. Delivery seemed like the perfect solution. Food ordered, I let my golden retriever out into the yard to burn off some energy. I joined him outside, figuring I'd wait there for the delivery driver. You see, delivery apps like DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, you name it, always seem to have trouble finding my place using GPS alone. It's become routine for me to just wait outside when they're close, wave them down, and then head back in for a contactless delivery. Now here's where things start to go sideways. My neighbor and I share a fence with a doggy door. Our dogs are best buddies, so naturally if my dog is outside, hers is right there with him for some cross-yard playtime. This was the situation today, and maybe it was bad judgment on my part to think I could quickly wrangle my dog back. Both dogs were in my neighbor's yard when I got the notification that the driver was arriving. I had to call my dog a few times to get his attention. Thankfully my neighbor whistled for her dog, and I had to use my special dog command voice for my pup to finally acknowledge I existed. Then I took off running towards my door, waving to the driver who was just getting out of her car. My dog and I have this game we call Runaway. I yell, "Run away!" and he chases me like I'm the world's biggest, best fetch toy. I use this to my advantage to get him inside. I managed to get him through the storm door and close the screen just before he realized I was tricking him and tried to bolt back out. Then, in my infinite wisdom, I realized I'd left the gate locked, with the delivery driver standing right there. I wasn't wearing a mask at this point, and neither was she. I yelled from the porch that she could just leave the food by the mailbox. And that's when the real fun began. "Is that your dog?" she asked. My internal bullshit detector didn't even twitch. I thought it was a normal dog person question, you know, making conversation. So I went full dog owner mode. "Yes, he's a golden retriever, blah blah blah. His name is Dog's name. Wanna say hi?" Trying to be friendly because, hey, she brought my food, but she just stood there for a weirdly long moment, put the food down, and practically jumped back into her car. I thought, okay, that's a bit strange, but shrugged it off. I grabbed the food and went inside to wash my hands. Looking out the kitchen window, I saw her car still parked on the street. Okay, weird again, I thought, but figured maybe she was just checking her route for the next delivery. I started getting ready to devour my meal. A few minutes later, my dog starts barking like crazy at the door. I checked my security cameras and saw her car was still parked right in front of my mailbox. Okay? What is going on here? I went outside to try and get her attention, but she was on the phone and didn't even notice me. I walked towards the mailbox as if I was checking the mail, and she finally pulled away, but she drove towards the back of our neighborhood, which is basically a dead end. Lots of people make that mistake and quickly turn around, but she never came back. By now I'm starting to think I'm losing it. I went back inside, still watching the street for her car to reappear. It didn't. I chalked it up to people are strange and went back to eating. About 10 minutes later, the dog starts going absolutely ballistic at the door again. I checked the cameras and saw 2 police cars parked outside my house. I kept watching the cameras, and yep, cops were getting out and walking around in front of my yard and my neighbor's yard. I went outside to see what was going on. They introduced themselves and said they'd received a call about a stolen golden retriever at my address and wanted to know if there was a dog here. Then it hit me. The delivery driver, she must have called the police. I explained what happened from my perspective. The officers were actually really respectful and apologetic. They asked if they could see my dog. I opened the door, and my dog bounded out, happy to greet the new people. His collar has tags with my address, my name, and my phone number, just in case he ever gets lost or apparently stolen. That was enough proof for them. They clearly wanted to wrap this up quickly. No hard feelings on either side. We were all about to go our separate ways when the delivery driver's car slowly creeps back into view from the dead end. I called out to the officers that she was right there. They positioned their cars to block her, so she had to stop and talk to them. I have no idea if this woman was having a really bad day or what, but she rolled down her window and was literally sobbing, saying she saw me take the dog from my neighbor's yard, that animals get no justice, and then, the kicker? People like you only own pit bulls and Rottweilers. There was no way he was mine, and he needed to be protected. I honestly just did not have the energy to deal with that whole mess. So no revenge story here, folks. I went back inside and stayed firmly planted on my couch. My day was already ruined enough. Everyone left a few minutes later, so I assumed she got a warning. I did report the whole incident to the delivery service and got some credits for my next order. I used those credits to get a bakery delivery and am currently devouring a slice of carrot cake. Just grateful things didn't escalate further. At least I got cake out of this whole ridiculous situation. The audacity of that driver is truly something else. To jump to those conclusions, hit that subscribe button if you've ever experienced ridiculous assumptions, because we dive into them all here. TIFU by rocking a shawl and ending my relationship. Quick backstory, I'm a guy who's pretty comfortable with being affectionate and yeah, maybe a bit effeminate sometimes. I'm a pretty big dude, like 6'2", and I come from a background where being tough was the norm. Think ex-military, same with all my roommates. But I also have slender wrists, I'm not shy about sitting in my friends' laps, and I've been known to blow a kiss or two in jest. Point is, I'm just me, and labels don't really fit. And no, I'm definitely not gay. So a few weeks ago I was browsing in a shop with one of my roommates, let's call him Shawl Bro, and we stumbled upon these seriously awesome shawls. They were so cool, they just stuck in our heads. Shawl Bro went back last weekend and bought a couple, and now we're both proud shawl owners. Mine gives off serious Star Wars vibes, and his is more like something Clint Eastwood would wear in an old western. Seriously, these things are amazing. The first night we wore them out, we hit up our usual dive bar. All the guys there thought they were incredible, giving us props and high fives. Then, Shawl Bro invited over this girl he was seeing and her friend. Let's just say their reaction to our shawls was less enthusiastic. They were making faces and whispering, clearly not fans. Whatever, they're lost. Later that night, my girlfriend calls. She's tired and wants to come over to my place. So I say goodbye to the shawl-hating girls and Shawl Bro and head home. I'm still rocking the shawl when my girlfriend arrives, and she's immediately thrown off. She actually refuses to kiss me until I take it off. Bit of a weird start to the evening, but okay. We hang out, go to sleep, and then the next morning she starts in on me, dead serious, asking if I'm gay, like really pushing it. I tell her no, and that if I were, I think I'd probably know by now. Her big evidence for my supposed secret gayness? The shawl. Apparently shawl equals gay in her world. Anyway, she gets all awkward and leaves. Later I get a text from her, a kind of sorry but not really a message, saying she needs to think about what kind of man she wants. Then radio silence for days. So yesterday I finally invite her out to talk. She's stumbling over her words, talking about how she likes tough guys and how she grew up in the South and is trying to adjust to the big city, but she doesn't know, and this and that. Eventually, I just cut her off and politely told her to get lost, because honestly, I was pretty insulted at this point. On my way back after we parted ways, I get this long, apologetic text from her. But the bottom line was, yeah, she's just not into me anymore. Because of the shawl. Later I tell Shawl Bro about my shawl-induced breakup, and he tells me he had a similar meltdown with the girl he was seeing that same night we went out in our shawls. Apparently shawls are relationship kryptonite. But you know what? We're both keeping the shawls. They're ridiculously comfortable and warm, plus they look awesome. So yeah, TIFU by buying a shawl and apparently cursing my love life. At least Shawl Bro and I are still rocking them single and cozy. Major TIFU accidentally sent nudes to my employee group chat. Okay, so I recently started a new job about 5 or 6 months ago in the tech field. I'm pretty young, only 24, and definitely the baby of the office, especially since most of my colleagues are men in their 30s and 40s. We use GroupMe for our work chat at the store. It includes everyone from the owner and manager to about 6 other employees. It's just for work-related stuff, you know, schedules, quick questions, etc. The night before this happened, I was feeling a little adventurous, if you catch my drift, and decided to take some, shall we say, personal photos and videos for someone I was seeing at the time. No harm, no foul, right? Or so I thought. The next morning, I went to work as usual. It was actually a really busy day. Around lunchtime, I needed to send a picture to the GroupMe to show my coworkers an issue I was having with the computer I was working on. I typed out my question, went to attach a photo, and just as I tapped the camera roll icon, a customer walked up and started asking me a question. Distracted and without even double checking, I hit send, and then I just kept going with my day helping the customer. I should probably mention I was working alone at this point, closing up, so there was no one else around to witness my impending doom. This customer kept me occupied for a good 30 to 45 minutes. When they finally left, I checked my phone and saw a bunch of missed calls from my boss. My first thought was that he was calling about the computer issue I'd messaged about, but while my phone was still ringing, I quickly glanced back at the group me, and that's when my stomach dropped through the floor. I hadn't just sent a photo from the night before. Oh no, I had sent the entire damn video. The blood drained from my face. Just as I was realizing the full extent of my screw up, my boss picked up the phone. He immediately started questioning me about my intentions with the video and how he'd never experienced such disrespectful behavior in the company before. I tried to explain it was a complete accident, but, well, let's just say that was my last day at that job, but hey, silver linings, right? The coworker I had a little crush on, he definitely noticed me after that, maybe a little too much, but still. So yeah, TIFU by trying to send a work-related photo and accidentally sending a nude video to my entire employee group chat. Lost my job, but maybe gained something else? Who knows? TIFU by getting my fiance high. So, last night I finally convinced my fiance to try smoking weed with me. She's always been totally against it, but with our wedding just around the corner and us officially becoming adults and all that, she decided to embrace the you only live once mentality. Fast forward to seeing my fiance high for the very first time, she became super relaxed and incredibly talkative. At first it was actually kinda cute, listening to her ramble on about life and love and everything in between. But then things took a turn. She started getting really specific in her confessions. She mentioned how she never pictured herself ending up with someone like me. I didn't even have to prompt her to elaborate because once she started, there was no stopping her. It was like a dam broke and all these details just came pouring out, completely unfiltered. Here's the stuff I learned about my own fiance that I absolutely did not know before. 1. Most of her previous relationships ended because she had a history of being, let's just say, not monogamous. 2. Expanding on point number 1, one relationship ended spectacularly when she cheated on her boyfriend with his younger brother and then, in a twist, also cheated on the brother with his best friend who happened to be male. It was a whole messy situation. Moondram. Apparently, I'm the first partner she's ever had to fake it with. She said all her exes just naturally knew what to do, whereas I don't. 4. My asthma is apparently a bit of a mood killer during intimate moments. She feels like she has to hold back, worried that I might get too excited and have an asthma attack or something. 5. She vaguely implied that all her exes were exceptionally well endowed, of course they were, and that I'm average. Her first experience with average. Those were just the highlights, the key takeaways. Honestly, I was so stunned and overwhelmed that I kind of tuned out whatever else she said after that. I'm pretty sure I didn't blink for the rest of the night. It was a lot to process. TLDR convinced my fiance to get high, and she unleashed a torrent of relationship-ending truths. Update. Even though I knew everything my fiance said would be stuck in my head forever, I was trying to just push it down and pretend like the whole night never happened. But she wanted to talk, so we talked. It was even worse than I imagined. She basically admitted that my mom was right about her not being the right person for me, and then the final bomb dropped. She confessed she'd been exchanging suggestive messages with one of her well-endowed exes, Mr. Perfect X himself. I'm just emotionally wrecked. It still doesn't feel real, and I'm having a hard time accepting that it's actually over, but it is. Guess I'll be returning the ring and treating myself to a new console instead. Thanks for all the advice. Oh wow, sometimes the truth really does come out when you least expect it, doesn't it? This is a whole new level of pre-wedding jitters. Seriously though, was honesty always lurking there, or did the weed just unlock Pandora's box? Let me know what you think in the comments. TIFU by choosing the safe path and wasting my life, age 42. I genuinely believe I've wasted my entire life. It's a hard pill to swallow, but I need to say it. My name is Joe and I've been a long time lurker on Reddit. I created this account specifically to share my story. I'm not even sure what I hope to achieve by doing this, but maybe it can resonate with someone out there, especially those standing at that crossroads between pursuing their passion and choosing the seemingly safe route. For the past 15 years, I've worked as a dentist. It was a career path I chose after leaving a previous job, driven by the hope of earning more money. Looking back, I'm not even sure why money became such a focus when I never really cared about lavish spending. I met my wife before I started dental school back when I was 20. I was a different person then, a risk taker, a dreamer, someone who actually believed they could make a difference in the world. Now at 42, I find myself in a place I never imagined. I'm dealing with chronic pain, My wife has been unfaithful, my kids barely speak to me, and my days are spent staring into people's mouths. My brain feels dull, my passions have withered, and I have absolutely no sense of purpose left in my life. My true aspirations were to be a social worker or an educator. But my parents and eventually my wife convinced me that I could help people in ways that were also financially rewarding. They steered me towards dentistry, and I foolishly listened. I loathed every moment of dental school. The idea of a career causing constant back and neck pain, merely addressing the symptoms of poor dental hygiene rather than the root causes, felt incredibly unfulfilling. My friends assured me it would be rewarding, both personally and financially, once I graduated, and again I let myself be swayed. When I was younger, I had so many dreams. I played music, dreamt of becoming a musician, of teaching and shaping young minds, of nurturing future generations who could positively impact the world. I was fascinated by physics and mathematics, but my parents, echoing societal norms, urged me to prioritize money over passion. Today I have 2 children, a wife, and they all expect a certain level of financial comfort, a lifestyle I now resent providing. I've never truly cared about money. The happiest period of my life was when I was practically broke, sleeping on a futon in a small rental, running a tiny business selling homemade jam from local strawberries, and tutoring kids on the side. I had very little materially, but I was genuinely content. I should have trusted my gut and become an educator or an entrepreneur, something aligned with my passions, instead of chasing a career I despise. Over these past 15 years as a dentist, I've developed chronic pain, gained a significant amount of weight, and yes, I made $1 million. But what is the point? My chronic back pain limits everything I can actually enjoy. My routine is monotonous. Work 9 to 5, 5 days a week, come home exhausted, plan for the next day, handle the business aspects of my practice, have a strained dinner with my family, sleep, and repeat. We take a few weeks of vacation each year, family trips that feel more like obligations than genuine enjoyment. My kids barely communicate with me anymore. My wife and I haven't been intimate in months, and I'm almost certain she's having an affair with someone someone more attractive, likely older than me. I've seen the evidence on her phone, but I won't confront her. She's become my only remaining anchor, my sole source of support, however fragile. If she leaves, I'll be truly alone. My children undoubtedly will side with their mother, leaving me isolated and resented. My life feels like a cruel joke. I remember my 20s, when I was popular with women, had opportunities with girls I found more attractive than my wife, but I remained loyal because I cared for her. In hindsight, perhaps I should have followed my impulses then too. Maybe if I had lived more authentically, my wife would still be attracted to me, and I would be healthier both physically and mentally. If I could relive my life, I would never settle down so young. I would date more, cultivate deeper friendships, and absolutely, unequivocally never choose dentistry. I should have pursued my passions, business, physics, teaching, music. Even if it meant financial instability, I honestly believe I wouldn't have cared. I would wake up each day with purpose, working harder because success wouldn't be handed to me. The list of positives goes on. Now, at 42, it feels too late to change course. My kids have expectations, my wife has expectations, society views me as successful and valuable. I feel trapped. I apologize for the lengthy post, but I needed to express this. I truly feel I've made a mockery of the one life I was given by prioritizing money, stability, safety, and the opinions of others over my own genuine passions. To anyone standing at that crossroads between security and passion, please chase your passions. The safe path offers no guarantee of a life worth living. TL.dr. I destroyed my life by stubbornly continuing down a path I hated. Dentistry. It has ruined my marriage, my health, my family relationships, my passions, and my mental state. Do what you are truly passionate about and disregard societal expectations. This story is a brutal reminder that safe doesn't equal happy. It really makes you think about your own path, doesn't it? Like and subscribe for more of these reality checks, and have a good one.